So we're going to look at another similar question here to the geometric sequence. So if I know that the fourth term of a geometric sequence is 8, and that the 11th term is going to be 4096, I have to remember that the way that you get a geometric sequence is by multiplying each term by the ratio. The problem is I don't have the fifth term or the first term, which I would need to be able to work this traditionally. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work this a little backwards here, and I'm going to say that, well, I know that if I take the first term and I multiply it by the ratio, and I did to the n minus 1, so that would be my 4 minus 1 here, so that would be 3, that I know that that equals 8. And then the same thing that happens here when I say, well, if I'm looking for the 11th term, I still need the first term times my ratio times 11 minus 1, and that equals 4096. So the way to get this down to one variable is going to be to divide. So I'm going to do a times r to the third as a simplification from here. And then I'm going to have this simplification of a times r to the 10th. And I'm just basically doing that minus 1. So the way that we find a ratio is dividing the second term by the first, or in this case, the 11th term. So I'm going to take the 11th term and I'm going to divide it by the third term or the fourth term. And when I do that division, I know that the answers are also going to be divided. So once I divide this out, my a's are going to cancel. 3 of these r's are going to cancel here, and then I can use a calculator to figure out what is 4096 divided by 8, which when I type that into my calculator, I get 512. And if I take the 7th root of both sides, if it was a 10th expert, you would take the 10th root. If it was r to the 5th, you would take the 5th root. So now I have my my ratio here. So if I look at this first equation back from up here, I know that a times r to the third is going to be 8. So if this was a times 2 to the third equals 8, I would divide both sides by 2 to the third, and that's going to tell me that the first term is 1. And so now that I know the first term is 1, the nth term formula would be 1 times the ratio, which is 2, times n minus 1. And that gives us what we need for our nth term.